take a seat here, please. We're joined now by Andy Mazurchak, Alec Brown, and Kendale McCullum. What we'll do is we'll first get an opening statement from Coach Regal, and then the floor will be open to you to ask questions of anybody up here. So, Coach Regal, first of all, your thoughts on tonight's game.
Okay. Quite honestly, it was a game like a lot of our GLVC games. I mean, very good competition. Wesleyan, you have to play a top 10 team in the country in the opening round. Doesn't seem right, but they were athletic. They got after it on the glass, and the great thing for us is we saw a lot of good teams throughout the year. All right, so when they were ahead, when they made their runs, again, I've talked about this a lot throughout the year. There was no panic. Our guards controlled the game, and we came out on the right end of things.
Okay, if you raise your hand if you have a question, we'll be happy to take it for anybody up here. Jeremy?
You guys, first name players, and then Luke, just talk about the historic aspect of this getting Parkside's first NCAA tournament win.
Why don't we go down, start with Kendall here.
Does it kind of feel like a monkey's lifted off the back a little bit?
Let me take that. Here's the thing. I'll let you guys talk, but honestly, the monkey was only on my back. These two guys, Kendall's is now 1-1 in NCAA tournament games. Alex 1-0. Okay, maybe a little bit on Andy, but I wouldn't put it on him. But that's on me. I'm the one that was part of the 4 losses. These guys weren't. So we didn't talk about it, obviously. Do I feel like a little bit of weight lifted? Yes. But for these guys, there was no winning. And go ahead, you guys.
Okay, Kendall, now you're up.
Well, like Coach said, I haven't been a part of this in probably 2 years, so I don't know how I feel. I don't know how Andy feels after 4 years getting his first NCAA win. So to me, it feels like a broken game, but more since we won our first NCAA game. But that's all for me.
Alec?
Yeah, same with me. It's my first year, so wasn't really no monkey back on me. The team, we don't even think about that stuff. We just go out and we just try to play our game, try to go out there and win.
Andy?
This was a gorilla on my back. This definitely meant everything to me. The atmosphere. I stated it. I said it before. March means everything, and that's where the teams are made. So this was obviously the most important game that we played this year. So.
Other question? Mark?
Yeah, you've been now 4 straight tournaments. Talk about the atmosphere of this. In years prior, maybe it's a little more sterile of an environment for our game as a neutral site contest as compared to today's game.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it before to Mike. I waited for this for 4 years, this kind of atmosphere. I wish we could get this earlier, but when it comes down to it, when it matters, they're out here, so that's important. So it was really fun. Probably the best atmosphere I played in 4 years in that gym.
Mike, you had a question?
You started with a near curtain mishap prior to the game, and then you took a lot of the brunt. They were a physical, athletic team. How tough was it out there? How did you have to stay mentally and physically strong to get through that one?
We just play basketball. That's what we do every day out. Practice, on the road. We just gotta let the scores. We just came out playing. We didn't come out flat all day. We just came out just playing.
As a follow-up, what happened at the end of the first half there? Just a little bit of good nature wolf it between you and then.
It's hard basketball. We're grown, man. It's competitive. At the end of the day, we just play basketball and it's over with.
Other question for anybody up here? Robbie?
When you went down 11 in the first half, what did you make any changes or what
With the group that we have, we're not a big set play group. So we just kind of poke and prod with 2 or 3 of our different, I guess what you can call offenses, and just try to find what works. And we haven't been getting off to real fast starts, but I think part of that is teams, whether they admit it or not, it's way more physical in the postseason. So, it takes us a little bit more to find a rhythm. Whether it was a conference tournament tonight, we have a lot of guys that are doing this for the first time. So there were no questions, some nerves. We just had to settle in. And, we've been, whether it was Truman or Quincy or whoever it was down at the conference, we've been down 8-10 before. There's no reason to call 3 timeouts and panic. We'll just find a rhythm, you know, the defense kept us in it for a while, and then once we got going, you know, Alec knocked down some threes, Andy hit some threes. We started getting to the foul line, which was huge in the first half, and it was fine. There's no panic by them. There's no panic by me. You know, when we get off to slow starts, but I'd love to be on the other side of it too.
Other question, Mike?
Luke, talk about Kyle Flanagan's contribution. 70 or 20 defensive rebounds. I mean, without him, you might not get hardly any defensive rebounds tonight.
Right. Well, you know, again, I mean, offensively, he had a slow night, and there was clearly a little bit nerves early on. He missed the point blank layup and an 8-footer that he normally makes. But it's so important for he and Goran to give us a presence inside, you know, and whether it's on both ends. I mean, it's important for them to slow down ball screens, and the thing that I loved about Kyle and Goran there late is they had tough rebounds. I mean, they're not calling fouls in the last 5 minutes of a game when the ball's up on the rim, and bodies are flying, and they just went and got it. Okay, and you know, we do a lot of tougher rebound drills to hopefully make them better, but I give them credit because, I mean, there were 2 possessions in a row where I thought Goran got just raked across the arms, maybe into the face, and, you know, he wasn't whining, he got back, you know, did something on the defensive end and made a difference for us. So those 2 guys are so important to our success, and these guys understand that as well.
The question, Jeremy?
This is for all you guys. Instead of the drawback for tonight, you only get like a couple hours to savor it. If it's less than 24 hours, you're going to be right back out here.
I mean, I think from their standpoint, if we could play in 2 hours, they'd be ready to go. You know, for us, it's more difficult just because of the prep. You know, I mean, obviously, if we play Lewis, we're very familiar with them. If it's Saginaw, we're showing these guys all new things in a compressed time. But you know, I'll be honest. Thank God we're playing the early game. I mean, that 8:30 game, 2 nights in a row down the conference tournament, we're not getting back to the hotel at 11:30. This is an advantage, and we just have to take advantage of it tomorrow.
You need more rest today.
I can sleep in April. We don't need any sleep now. I don't need any sleep. They need sleep.
Another question, Mark?
Yeah, just one final one for you, Luke. I know Andy won't talk about it too much, but today was a big milestone day for him. He played most games in Ranger history now. He also went past 5,000 points, or 1,500 for his career. Talk a little bit about, you know, just what he means to the team over the last 4 years, and this year especially, too.
Well, you know, this year it's easy. It's the leadership. You know, I mean, and Kendall's made his job easier sliding over to that 2 guard because we know Andy can score. But if he had to play the point all the time, it's just, I don't like teams where your point guard's your leading scorer. It's tough. So, you know, to be able to do that, and then the other thing that he does, and it's so much more important that it comes from your locker room than the coach, is he sets expectations. Okay? I mean, if I'm always the one saying we need to do this or we need to do that, right? Sooner or later it's going to ring hollow. But if he's saying, listen, this is how we do it, this is how we need to do, or more importantly, how he leads by example, that's what it's about. And I mean, I've said this before, it's no coincidence why we've won so many games since he's been here, because he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, and he's a hard-nosed kid. And, you know, I hope we have him for 5 more games.
Other question? Jeremy?
Steve has told me this story about, I think it was your first game as an assistant coach here. You lost by like 30 at UW-Oshkosh, and you turned around to him and said, does it ever get any better? And I think he said no. And I guess just to go from that point, here you got, you know, second round of the NCAA tournament. What is just that tournament?
Well, you know, like you said, you know, I think Mike asked me in an interview of, you know, will you take a moment to appreciate it? And it's hard because you don't have time. You know, I mean, right now all I'm thinking about is I got to get out there and watch Saginaw and Lewis and see if we can beat them. But what I'll tell you is this. You know, it being Kentucky Wesleyan, and these guys don't understand it because they weren't a part of it, but tonight was a win for every Parkside player and coach that has sat down in that Owensboro gym, down 20, down 30, while their starters are still in the game trying to get triple doubles and, you know, padding stats, and meanwhile we're just trying to get some respect. And listen, believe me, coming from Platteville where we kicked a lot of tail, Wilmot, whatever, when I was sitting on that bench and they had their point guard was left in with 2 minutes to go to get a triple double, we're down 30. That's the thing that's stuck in my crowd, you know, and so it makes it a little more special to beat Kentucky Wesleyan for the first win. But overall, I mean, tonight, when I look back on this in April, this will mean a lot. Because, I mean, how great was the community tonight? That was a big-time college basketball atmosphere. And, you know, I know Cradiville will probably say this, but it was back like Coach Stevens' days. You know, where the gym was rocking and, you know, there were great players on the floor for both teams and Parkside's winning.
Got time for one more question. If somebody has one. Mike, you get the last one.
Alec, look, have you ever, can you remember the last time you scored 6 points? What was that shit?
No, I don't know, but it makes these two make my job really easy. You know, just give me open looks, and you know, I just try to score when I get the chance to.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Kentucky Western again next.
Not done yet.